Hi everybody, my name is Jan Dufour and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I live just outside of Louisville, Kentucky in a little town called Simpsonville. Today we're going to do part one of cards all wrapped up. And what that part one will be is to make 6 of these cards. There's 2 of each one. Using them in different ways. It goes like that and like that and like that. And I'm going to show you how you can do this and part 2, which I'll just give you a sneak peek, which we'll do the next vlog, is a little container that will hold the cards and the envelopes that you are making. So that's the next vlog. But it uses, between that and the cards, it only uses a 1 sheet of 12 by 12. And I'm going to show you how to do that. The stamps they're using are The Right Words, all kinds of inside and outside kinds of stamps. And I love that because sometimes you just want to put a little something in there. And for example, did I stamp in here? Yes. So this one says, to some we're celebrating every single day, and inside it says happy birthday. Anyway, if you are on YouTube, let me get rid of this out of the way. Oops, out of the way. And the die cuts that we're using is called traditional label dies. And there are all kinds of, I used this set, that's this part that goes there. And then I used this one for the inside and then did it again. And we'll show you that trick. I've done it before in other videos, but traditional label dies is what it is. If you're on YouTube and you want to get the project sheet, you need to go to my website, stampmesilly.com, and I have it with the supplies and how to cut the paper on the project sheet. And then if you have any questions or if you'd like a free catalog, just email me at jandufour@yahoo.com. And then if you see anything here that you'd like to purchase, this is all out of our new catalog, or September to December, which gets some holiday things in there. You can go to my online store at jandufour.stampinup.net. Let me put that aside. And you'll see I made 2 of every one. The only one that is different is this one. One's the bottom half, if you will, and or the top half, depending on how you do it. And you can actually cut it a different way and have it just a different way of splitting it in 2. But all of this, all of these sections came by using, let me put these off, 1 12 by 12. And I'll show you, you need to cut it. This is important. This is in portrait mode. It goes up and down. Now with 6 by 6, you know, this could be portrait mode, but it's not. So you have to look at your paper. If it's non-directional, great. If it is directional though, you want to cut it so that the top half is in one direction and the bottom half is too. And we're going to cut it at 6 inches, which conveniently snugs right up to our Stampin' Up! Thing. Take this piece and save it for next week, because we're going to use that. So as I said, we're going to be able to use a lot of this one piece of paper to do many, many things. So you take this 6 inch in portrait so that you're looking at it properly. And the first cut you're going to make is 3 3/4. So you're going to do that. And before we get rid of that, we are going to cut it down to 5 inches. So you get a little piece, which you may be able to use later. So now we have the 5 inches. We're going to go ahead and cut this on the diagonal. Now you could go corner to corner. There's nothing wrong with that. That all works. But I wanted to be different, of course, as usual. So I am going to put 1 corner on the 3/4 mark there, and 1 on the 3/4 mark here. Let's see. And we're going to, oops, I moved it. No, there we go. And really, truly, it doesn't really matter because they're not going to be up against each other. But that gives you 2 pieces. Okay, so 2 cards. We'll set that aside. The next piece, we're going to cut 4 at 2 inches. So we're going to cut 1, 2, you think we're gonna make it? There's enough, I promise. There's another, that's 3, and this is 4. Now, right away, we're gonna take the last 2 we cut. They're all 2 inches, so it doesn't really matter at this point. But this particular one, we're gonna turn and cut it at at 5 inches also. Yeah, I had to look at there's a lot of cutting instructions. They're not hard, but I had to sift through them. So we cut it at 5. And in addition, 2 of these we're going to cut again in half. So we put it on the 1 inch mark. And yes, it will cut through 2 pieces. Oops. So now I have 4 strips that are 1 by 5. We'll put that aside. And these 2 were staying at 2 inches, but we are going to cut it down to 5. Now, I could have cut them a little bit differently, going across at 2.5 or at 5 1/4 to get some of the pieces and then do these at 5, but it was just easier in my head to do it this way. So we have 2 of these. We have 4 of the little ones, and then we have the 2 rectangles. All right, before I go, we're gonna cut, we need 3 sheets of, this particular color is Fresh Freesia, and I want to go ahead and make, I only have 1, 2, 4 here, so I needed 2 more. And one of the quick ways to get it scored at the same time, make sure you don't use your cutter, put it at 4 1/4. I don't have that right on camera here. At 4 1/4. And run the scoring blade and then turn it and cut it at 5 1/2. And then both your cards are already scored, which makes it a little bit quicker, especially if you're making mini cards. All right, so the other thing you needed to prepare, which I have already cut, is using 2 sheets of basic white, cut 5 1/4 by 4. So, excuse me, which is just a little bit less. You can still get 4 out of 1 sheet of paper. And you'll have a couple, because that'll give you 8. But you need 6 for the cards themselves. And then you need a couple of blank sheets. And the fact that they're cut apart is not a problem. It doesn't matter. Whoops. So that you can create your tags. Now, I did the tags ahead of time. I stamped with Berry Burst and then cut, again, we used the 2 smallest ones, Berry Burst and then the inside one for that. And then on the other one, I cut 2, one of Berry Burst and one of white around the stamping. And then all I did was cut it down the middle and set it apart so that you get one side, the 2 ends, in color. And that's just enough to set it off. All right, so let's see. Put these aside a little bit. Put that because we're not doing stamping. I don't need that. Now you can also cut, if this were a dark color, I would go ahead and put that same size, 4 by 5 1/4, and put another sheet inside. It makes the card a little thicker, like the basic white thickness, and it also gives you a place to stamp and for people to write. But the Fresh Freesia, I think, is light enough that I don't have to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that aside now that we're done. And I'm going to take one of our white parts, and let's do the funky one first. This is going on like this. And leaving it like that, just one side. If you wanted to have more of a border, you could certainly cut that out a little bit more, but this is good enough for me. So we're going to start, I don't know why, I always put the white on the colored cardstock first before I do the decorating. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I'm just using mono-adhesive glue. Didn't really need that middle, but I always do it because it's habit. We're gonna put this down. If you get 3 sides right, the other one will automatically be right. All right, oops. There we go. So I put that down, and then we're gonna put down one corner or the next. Now, if you have no direction in your paper, it doesn't matter. You know, you could do it like this if you wanted 2 on the upside. It would depend on your design, on your designer series paper, on whether or not you could do it and make one of these upside down. But mine's directional, so we're going to leave it like that. And then all we have to do, and I don't know if you noticed when I did it, but on the other one that I do with this one, I went ahead and used a different sentiment just so that you could see kind of what they look like. And then, you know, we have to add a little bling to make it perfect, even though it's pretty darn good all by itself. This is a very quick card. You can make many of these very quickly. And then where you put this is totally up to you. If you want it up here, you can put it down here. I kind of look for the color because I'm kind of trying to match some of that. So I don't know if I want to put it right there. Let's see. Oh, there's all these decisions you have to make. I'm going to put it right here. And I know that leaves for a lot of white space, but I kind of like that. Plus, I didn't want to hide any of the flowers. This particular pattern had a lot of orange in it, and that's not the color I wanted to highlight. I can show you this beautiful paper. This is another one I had half started, so I had already used that. Then that with the beautiful blue. As you can see, Fresh Freesia pretty much is in all of them, except for that orangey one. Very pretty and fairly small paper patterns. So that's awesome. So there's one. See how fast that happened? If you wanted to watch me time it, it really doesn't take long. After you make the first batch of 6, you can pump out 12. You can change the sentiments, make half of them birthday, make half of them sympathy. I mean, you can put nothing at all on it. I make cards that don't have any sentiments. And then when I want to use it, I decide whether or not it needs a sentiment. Maybe it just doesn't. I'm going to be writing inside it, so that'll be enough. So put it down there. So pretty. And this time I'm going to use a different tag. I'm still going to use the dimensionals. Oops. This one just was begging to come off, so I'll take off the top now. This one's a lot longer, so I spread out the 3. 1, 2, and one more. I think I got them all. get the pieces. And then again, I kind of look. This one has more here. They've got some highlighted here. I think I want it right here. And then you have one peeking out here. And then I had many different gems pulled out originally, trying to figure out what I wanted, and I decided to go with these, which are the Purple Fine Shimmer, which you will find in the annual catalog. And I'm just going to use a little one. Oops. And, you know, I'll just make it different. Thinking of you. And of course, we still need one over here. Oops. And I think I'll put it here. Yeah, I like that. All right. So this time I made 2 cards. The rest of the time I'm only going to make 2 more because those were just slightly different. These ones coming up are not. They're going to be identical. So I'm just going to do one. I'm going to put down the background. Of course, you could make the background flowers and do the same shapes in solid color if you wanted to mix it up a little bit. There's that. And this one is the 2" by 5. And we just put that on the edge. And you know, if you wanted to put it in the middle or off to this side, you do you. It is totally whatever is your fancy. And then I'm going to put some more, using a few dimensionals today, but you know what? Dimensionals are very inexpensive, so we'll do that. And, oops, those 3 are gone. It's kind of boring watching me do this, I bet. Here it works out great because this is all orange and I really wanted to highlight the darker color. And I press that down and we need a gem. And this time I think I'm going to put it in the center. Yeah, I get to make those decisions. Isn't that cool? Okay, I will make the other card later. And then this last one is so tricky. Wait till you see what I do with this one. It's going to be so hard. Kidding. Put this on. You know, cutting up the paper takes the longest, I think, and that's really doesn't take long, but putting it together is a breeze. So you remember we had 4 of these pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out the ones that have a lot of purple. I think I'm going to do this one because I'm going to put the sentiment in there. So then you take the others and you flip them. So that's how difficult that is. And, you know, if you don't look at them and you just plunk them down, that's okay too. Because nobody's going to know that I spent 30 seconds trying to figure out which one had the most purple. Oops, make sure you put it on the right side. I know it's so counterintuitive to cover up these beautiful flowers, but there you have it. And you can do this with all kinds. I imagine Christmas cards, how fast it would be, because you would cut all of the outside, all of these all at once, just ring them through and keep going. And then you would do the little bit of stamping. Maybe this took me a little bit of time, but not much, but you know what I mean. That might have taken a little bit longer. And then you slap them together so fast. There are no construction worries on this one. Don't have to match up anything to make it, oops, I got one too many. You know, to make things fit. We get to do that next week, or not next week, next vlog. If you've been following me for a while, you may or may not know I switched blogging to every 2 weeks instead of every week. So twice a month on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday, I and blogging. I had changed it originally because I was traveling so much this summer. But to be honest, it has really created a good work-life balance for me. And so we're going to go with that. So I would make 2 of these. So there you have it. Let me get this out of the way. Save these because I got to make 2 more cards. I'm just not going to do it on while it's here. And these are the 3 cards times 2 that you would make this. Next week, again, we'll be making the little holder that holds all of the cards and the envelopes that go with it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up. I got 1 thumbs down last month, which is fine. I want your opinions. Unfortunately, the person didn't bother to tell me why I got a thumbs down, so I can't fix anything. Hopefully it wasn't anything too grievous. But anyway, please give me either a thumbs up or thumbs down. Leave a comment so I know why I got that rating. And then think about subscribing. I subscribe twice a month, as I said, so you're not going to get slammed with a bunch of stuff. I also will send out flash sales like free shipping. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.